Epic Universe is finally opening its gates on May 22nd. And it's pretty much Universal's biggest, boldest, and most immersive theme park yet. It's got all new lands we've never seen before, cutting edge rides, and some of the most insane theming we've ever seen. So there's a lot to be excited about. But the real question is, which ride is worth your time, right? So in today's video, we're going to be ranking all the rides and shows in Epic Universe, from the rides you can't miss to the ones that might be skippable. So, as a caveat here before we get started, I do want to point out that there are two rides that I did not ride: Dragon Racers Rally and Fire Drill. For those, Dragon Racers Rally is basically just a run-of-the-mill kind of like, I don't want to call it a carnival ride, but it's pretty straightforward. If you see it, it's not really that impressive when it comes to like a ride for a new theme park. So it was just kind of like a little rinky-dink ride, at least in my opinion. So I decided I wasn't even going to ride it. I was going to be focused on everything else. And then Fire Drill, unfortunately, didn't bring a change of clothes, so I didn't want to get wet. And as far as the summer is concerned, if you're going to Epic Universe in the summer, then I would probably recommend you bring in change of clothes for the park and riding Fire Drill so you can get wet. But other than that, let's get started. Coming at number 11, it's going to be Yoshi's Adventure. Now, this is something that I like to call Yoshi, the Yoshi Mover. It's basically a slower version of the People Mover, with just a little bit of interactivity built into the ride, right? So basically, it just doesn't go through the whole Nintendo world, but it goes through a little section. It has a little bit of dark sections, and basically, there's 3 buttons where you have to collect the Yoshi eggs throughout the ride. It is a short ride. It does have some pretty cool animatronics and everything like that, but really it's just for little kids and for you to ride and see all like the cool characters and everything throughout the little section. You see Baby Mario, which is awesome. I think there's also a Baby Peach, which I didn't think was possible, but yeah, and it's just a basic little ride. Not really nothing to shout about, which is why it's at number 11. Unless you have like little kids or anything, it's definitely something to skip, especially if it's over like a 15-minute wait. I wouldn't wait anything longer than about 10 to 15 minutes for this ride. Number 10 is Constellation Carousel. Now, it's just a normal carousel, but with a little bit of a twist. Has pretty cool different animals, and the scenery is really good at night. So this is something you probably want to ride to at night. It not normally a carousel that just goes in a circle. So there's actually certain sections of the ride that spin itself. So as the carousel is turning, these little sections are actually spinning within itself, but it's very slow. It's not jarring or anything like that. And most of the, just like normal carousels, it kind of goes up and down a little bit, but it is very slow. It looks beautiful at night. So if you're going to ride it, definitely ride it at the nighttime, so you get all the full experience of it. And the music is kind of weird though. Sometimes the music doesn't really fit the carousel. It's just kind of off-putting, I think, for me. But overall, it's amazing looking. So if you're going to ride this, definitely ride this at night. And again, I probably wouldn't wait maybe more than like 20 minutes or something, but most of the time people are going to ride this at night, so the line is going to get longer when it's nighttime. So it's just something to keep your eye on. Hey guys, Michael Anthony from the future. I just wanted to point out that the 2 rides, Dragon Racers Rally and Fire Drill, more than likely would beat Yoshi's Adventure and the Constellation Carousel. So technically Yoshi and Carousel would be probably 13th and 12th, and then these would be probably 11 and 10. So just wanted to point that out for you guys. All right, so coming at you at number 9 is the Harry Potter show that's called Les Cirques Arcanos. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Don't sue me if I didn't get that right. But this was a pretty cool show. It doesn't really do anything special for me, honestly, but it was a decent show. Now the animatronics are really good on it. They do have screens, so it's very similar to what Universal's been doing lately, especially throughout this whole park. Is with all the rides, especially, is they'll have practical effects, so they'll have some practical animatronics mixed in with people, and then they also have screens as well. So it was a good little mixture of everything. It was a cute little show, but it's not something that I would definitely place in the top tier of rides. So I would say it's probably like a B tier show or something like that. But it was cute and I liked it. It wasn't bad, and everything. I enjoyed it and it had some cool elements and everything in it. But overall, it's just just a decent show. So, number 8, we have Curse of the Werewolf. Now, this is normally a little lower than what I've seen other people place this ride. And I think maybe the difference is for me, when I got on this ride, I wasn't spinning as much as everyone else. And so on this ride, the coaster has sections that will spin automatically. Well, not automatically. They spin randomly based on your weight distribution on that said portion of the coaster. And so it was just me and Amber and I on one side, and there was no one else on the other side. So I feel like in that regard, we weren't spinning at all because the way the weight was distributed on our side, we weren't able to get any momentum to spin in any direction. So in hindsight, I think maybe if you go and there's no one else on the other side, I would try to see if you just sit on the opposite side, and that way you have one person on each end and you might get some spin or anything in that regard. But it is a very short ride. It's fun and enjoyable and everything. And luckily when we went, because we went twice, we didn't wait too long for the rides, right? So most of the rides that we went on were pretty much walk-ons to some extent. But it is a good ride. It's just that it wasn't spinning enough for me, and it happened, and it was just over like that. The only other thing is we got stuck right at the end, so we were just sitting there waiting for like 10 minutes before we could even get off the ride after the ride was done. So we were just sitting there. But again, this was during technical rehearsals, so hopefully it doesn't have any of those issues when the park opens. Coming at number 7, we have Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. Now, what's funny is that I didn't think anything of this ride to begin with. I did see videos previously in California and everything, and it seemed too slow for me. Like I'm like, well, this is a Mario Kart ride. This is kind of dumb. Like why we're not going that fast? So what is even the point, and why is this ride even great? Having said that, once I actually got on the ride and everything, I was like, okay, it's not too bad. But really what makes this ride do it for me is the whole experience. It's basically the queue itself is completely amazing. This is probably my favorite queue out of everything, and I come from the Super Nintendo era, so everything was bringing back just nostalgia feels for me. This whole line queue, the ride itself, the music, the ambiance, everything was just clicking for me, right? So this is a good ride. It is not ranked too high, but it is ranked a little higher than maybe Curse of the Werewolf for just those reasons, is that it gave me the nostalgia feels, the music was there. The AR is all right. It is kind of disorienting a little bit because there is practical things that are there, and then you're trying to concentrate on the AR, which can be like a little confusing because you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. Oh, I just missed this. Oh, I see this, or whatever. So there's just a lot of things coming at you, and which is kind of fitting since Super Nintendo World itself is just sensory overload, and I feel like this ride had a little bit of that coming through. So but other than that, it was a great ride. All the practical effects were cool. Seeing Bowser's flying ship, and all the little details that you see in the little like Easter eggs on this ride was pretty fun. So I definitely enjoyed this ride more than I expected to. All right, so barely missing the top 5, coming at number 6 is going to be Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. Now, Donkey Kong Country in itself, a little section separate from Nintendo World, even though it is still connected, is amazing. Just looking at all the details in the actual little land area is awesome. You see pretty much most of the ride when you're walking through that little area. So you'll see people coming around the corner into like the water area. You have a big waterfall right there. You see people coming out of the barrel. Usually, if you ever play the games, there's like the little barrel blast or whatever that happens. You jump in the barrel and it shoots you out, and that's kind of what this part of the ride does at the beginning. And it is I don't want to say a short ride, but maybe it could be a little longer. But basically the whole point is that you're on the minecart and you're jumping the track basically, like you do in actually the Donkey Kong Country games. And so this one definitely brought me back as well. The whole Super Nintendo World area just it hit me with the nostalgia feels. And it is a pretty good ride. There is a little animatronics there, but I wish I had just like a little bit more, which is why it didn't really make the top 5. But it is a family friendly coaster, so it is it's definitely not restraint. It's not constricting on you or anything like that. And I mean, just overall, it is a pretty good ride. There's a lot of scenery areas that will be probably something to be viewable at night. This park looks great at night, especially all the areas, but Donkey Kong Country especially. I would love to see ride this at night because you can see the waterfall. It glows. Like, there's very good lighting in this ride. So I would love to ride that at night just to see what it looks like. But just looking at everything else, I would assume that, yeah, it would be a great ride. So definitely something, it's not something to miss or anything. Anything I would say anything in the top 10, is definitely something that you want to ride. So sorry, Yoshi, but it is what it is. Okay, now we have the top 5, and coming at number 5 is going to be the Untrainable Dragon show at Isle of Berk. This show, actually, I've heard great things about this show, and then when I actually saw it, I was like, okay, I get why everyone likes this show. And basically just it hits you with everything that you love. If you love How to Train Your Dragon, if you love Toothless, like Amber does, she even told me, like, if she was a crier, she probably would have cried. And basically, Toothless will come out and it'll fly over your head. It's pretty amazing show. The show itself, all the singing and dancing and everything was top notch. They used practical and the digital screens as well, just like the Harry Potter show. And this is probably one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. It definitely ranks up there with like the Festival of the Lion King and things like that. Now, it is a little different, whereas Festival of the Lion King is more about singing the actual songs and from the movie, whereas Isle of Berk, it's not really a musical. So it's doing a little something different. It has more practical effects and more about the story itself and the experience of everything. So definitely an amazing thing that you don't want to miss. This is an amazing show, and Toothless flying over your head is just mind-blowing. It's just crazy what Universal is doing with all these IPs in this park. This is such an amazing park. Keep in mind also that some of the rides and shows I'm talking about today, I do have videos on. So if you ever want to see, they are spoilers, but if you ever want to see more detailed about those rides and shows, you could definitely check the channel. I do have Ministry of Magic, I do have Untrainable Dragon, and I also have Monsters Unchained. So definitely check those rides out if you're more interested in more details about what to expect when you ride those. Coming at number 4 was actually a sleeper hit for me. Like, I thought this was going to be just like another family friendly coaster, and it actually took me by surprise. And this is going to be Hiccup's Wing Gliders. This was an amazing I would call it a kiddie coaster, but it's a family friend coaster. This is an amazing coaster. It had everything that you wanted. You see Toothless. It launches you twice. It has all the music and the sights and sounds, and you go through most of Isle of Berk when you're going through this coaster, and you see everything. It is such an amazing ride. It's definitely something that I wasn't expecting, but once I went on it twice in a row, back to back, with walk-ons, mind you, 2 walk-ons, and it was just something that I had to experience again. So we went on it again. Such an amazing ride. It gives you everything that you're looking for, just enough thrills, but not too overbearing like some of our next rides that we're going to go over. But so definitely can't miss. Isle of Berk itself, the whole land itself, is probably one of the ones that are the most fleshed out. It's the biggest. It has the most things to do, and just everything there is amazing. Coming in at number 3, since I'm still really deciding in my head right now what I want to put as number 3, but I'm going to go with Stardust Racers, okay? It's just done deal. All these are going to change anyway, probably the more I go to the parks, but number 3 is going to be Stardust Racers. This is a great coaster. It's probably, I've never really rode a dueling coaster before, actually, with the exception of Gwazi when that first came out, and then they changed it to Iron Gwazi, but this is a really, really amazing coaster. I couldn't believe it. Looking on the outside, it just looked like a standard coaster. I was like, it's an all right coaster. What is that about? Until I rode it. And when I say this was an amazing, amazing coaster, and I see how people are comparing it to Velocicoaster, it's just not as intense, but it does come pretty close to it. The fact that it's dueling coasters, when you're seeing the person next to you in the other coaster and you're flipping around upside down on each other and everything, this was such an amazing ride. It also has the music coming out. A lot of these rides, funny enough, do have like music coming out of them. And that just kind of gives you the whole experience. It's not just a coaster and you're just riding it, right? It's giving you the full experience. It's giving you the music. It's giving you the adrenaline when the music, pumps as you're going up a hill or coming down a hill. Like, it gives you the full experience. So you're like completely soaked in it, right? An amazing, amazing coaster. Definitely a coaster you want to ride probably at least twice. If you have to ride it during the day, you need to ride this at night. This is an amazing coaster at night. You can see the whole park. Everything is lit up. It is just an amazing feel of a coaster, and you definitely can't go wrong. Even if you were going to choose this as number one or number two, I can't hate you for this. And a nice little caveat is on the back of these coasters, they do have the flux capacitors on them, which I like. It's a nice touch. So while we're on the subject of Isle of Berk, there is something I do want to bring out before we get to our last couple of rides, our top three. And that is, it's not a ride or a show, but if you love Isle of Berk or How to Train Your Dragon or anything like that, you definitely cannot miss meeting Toothless and Hiccup. Now, sometimes Hiccup is not there. They replace him with another Viking or Astrid or something like that. But more or less, you get to meet and pet Toothless. And I'm not usually like a meet and greet person. I don't like meeting characters or anything like that, especially if they're not not someone that can talk back to me. I like the interaction, which, having said that, the interaction in Dark Universe with Invisible Man and Igor are something you can't miss too. They usually walk around. So you don't have to like wait in line for them. But with Toothless, you do have to wait in line. And this can get pretty long, up to an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, especially when the park opens. So you definitely want to figure out and plan what you're going to do for that day, because this line gets pretty long. Everyone wants to pet Toothless, and it is just an amazing sight. And he growls, he talks, and in his own special way and everything. So it is just an amazing thing to behold. And if you haven't done that and it's something that you were thinking about doing, this is definitely a can't miss. Now, number two and number one, these are so difficult, man. Like, I can't. Obviously, what we have left is Battle at the Ministry and we have Monsters Unchained. These two are going to be the top two, and I mean Stardust Racers also. It's going to be the top three rides for this park, hands down. And it's so hard to choose between these and which one is the top one, right? Number two, let's go with Battle at the Ministry. All right, I know this will probably change in the future, but Battle of Ministry, just the whole experience is amazing. As soon as you go into the ride, you do the flu powder and you transport yourself to the Ministry of Magic. Once you're inside, the building is massive. It is just, you really feel like you're there. The screen is moving and it's showing Umbridge, and she's really pissed at you because she's in jail. Everything is just so detailed and immaculate, down to like the tiling in the wall, the way the color changes, the gradient. It starts in green and then it goes to like purple and then like a mauve color. Like, it's just an amazing queue even of itself. The posters are, all the pictures are talking and moving, and it looks like you're really at the Ministry. And the ride itself is completely amazing, state-of-the-art things. Basically, it is kind of like some people say Spider-Man and Tower of Terror is like combination. I would say the seating is reminiscent to Tower of Terror, but it is still kind of like on a Kuka arm, where it's kind of like bouncing you or turning you. You're not falling too much on this ride or anything extreme like that. But it is such an amazing thing what they did to this, combining animatronics and screen. It is almost undetectable of what is a screen and what is an animatronic. Very close. It was an amazing ride. It's just, I can't say enough about this ride, honestly. Just everything was totally great. There is something funny, which I probably why I rate this as a number two, is at the end, look at the Ron animatronic. That's all I have to say. But Definitely a must do. And it shows because now that it's open to everyone and not on virtual queue anymore, it is looking at like 300 minutes. It's averaging about a 2.5 hour wait throughout the day. And finally, coming in at number 1 is Monsters Unchained. This ride is amazing. The queue is amazing. Dark Universe of itself is so great. I just wish it was a little bigger and it had, just a tad more, but overall amazing ride. Frankenstein's Manor, you walk inside, you're going up the steps just like you would like a normal castle. Everything there is very detailed and intricate. You have the old Frankenstein's body, you have the family tree of Victoria Frankenstein. You have videos of showing Victoria and Igor capturing all these monsters. You have photos of all the monsters from vampires to Dracula to the Creature of the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman. Everything is there. All the little details are there. The whole castle is connected with this like electricity beams are connected to it as if Frankenstein was using the electricity to power up all her crazy experiments. You see it going all through the castle, and there are actually 2 little like intro shows that show you what's happening. You talk to Igor first, she shows you what's about to happen, and then you talk to Victoria Frankenstein, and she gives you some information as well. And once you get in there, it is a Kuka arm base, similar to Forbidden Journey, but definitely does not give you the nauseum that ride does. It's a lot smoother. It is quite of a long ride, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And again, I do have this video of the full ride and queue on the channel as well. Amazing ride. The animatronics were amazing. The screens, it does have that combination of screen and animatronic, as Universal is basically like notorious for doing, especially in this new park, which just kills this whole theme of Dark Universe, bringing all the Dark Universe monsters from the Mummy to Frankenstein to Dracula. Was really a smart move by Universal, and this ride is definitely a can't miss as well. And there you have it. Those are my rankings for all the rides and shows in Epic Universe. Now, this was a tough decision. As you can see, I was still debating last minute on what ranking I should have some of these rides. I went to the park twice, and everything was just amazing as the first time. And whether you're into like immersive worlds or thrill rides or, just the shows or the experience itself, this park has literally everything you could want. And I hope that you guys can get in there and enjoy everything as much as you can, and you don't have to go so many days. And now it's up to you guys. If you guys already rode half of these rides, or if what are you planning on riding? Definitely I want to know in the comments below what your list is going to be, what you plan on doing on first. If you have questions, comments, concerns, what to do, any kind of planning involved, I definitely would love to hear those in the comments below. But until then, we're going to see you next time. Peace out.